Okay, I'm gonna share with you guys a meditation here that is freaky, to say the least. Okay? To say the least. However, if you do this and you actually carry over the practice from this, you will begin to experience interesting states of consciousness. And the meditation is quite simply, you go on doing everything that you do in your life. You think your daily thoughts, you do your daily actions. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, I gotta get up. Oh, my legs are numb. I gotta go for a walk. Oh, I'm not feeling good. Oh, I'm feeling really happy. Okay, I gotta go do the dishes. Let's go do the... You do everything. However, the simple subtle change is you change the word I. From the word I, and place your name in there. So, instead of saying, I gotta go do the groceries, Saeed's gotta go do the groceries. Instead of saying, I gotta go clean the dishes, Saeed's gotta go clean the dishes. Instead of saying, I am sad, you say, Saeed is sad. Instead of saying, I am happy, you say, Saeed's happy right now. And in the first few days of doing this, in the first week, if you carry on the practice, you are going to be in absurdity. You're going to be living in the land of absurdity, to say the least. You're going to be a citizen of the land of absurdity. Okay? Absurd. Absolutely absurd. Saeed is getting up. Saeed is walking. Saeed is making videos. Saeed is speaking. Saeed is not happy. Saeed is sad. Saeed is ecstatic. Absurd. Absurd. Okay? You're basically immigrating from the land of comfort and from the land of ordinariness. You're immigrating, you're voluntarily and intentionally immigrating to the land of absurdity. Now, why are you immigrating to the land of absurdity? There is some purpose behind it, because you're trying to extricate yourself from soul identification with the physical body and the psychological identity of the ego, as well as the emotions that arise because of it. And in order to extricate yourself from soul primary identification with those things, you have to become the watcher, the observer, because that's who you are, really. You're the one experiencing, you're not the experience. You're the one observing, you're the one watching. Everything else is just happening. It's a process. It's an unfolding process. Whether you like it or not, it's just, you're a process, I am a process, we're unfolding. I may think I'm speaking right now, but if I say, instead of saying, I, Saeed, I am speaking, I say, Saeed is speaking. Interesting. Because even in your mind, you will see something very funny happen around your third eye. Right around here, if you actually sit down and feel it, when you start to speak like that, you'll feel some energy here. You will zoom out and you'll just see yourself. Like, if I say Saeed is speaking, I'm in my third eye, in my mind, I'm like watching. I'm like somewhere out there watching. I'm just watching this happen. But if I say I am speaking, I suddenly even feel it here, like I'm here. It's like I'm now identified with the first. It's a first. So it's like you're, instead of playing first person shooter game, you're now playing a third person shooter game. Okay, you have much more objectivity that way. You can see things better. This is why in wars they always prefer to be in a mountainous terrain. If it's a mountainous terrain, the advantage is for those who are at the top of the mountain, at the top of the hills, because they can see everything. And so when you start to see things objectively from a third perspective, you are effectively beginning to identify with the Atman, with Brahman, with the creator of all of this, with the creator of the game, with the simulator, with the programmer. And your awareness expands and you're able to see more. Right? So when you analyze yourself, when you speak to yourself, so you can say, Saeed is sad. Why is Saeed sad? And just asking the question, why is Saeed sad? Trying to understand is a lot you have a lot more leverage and objectivity than to say, why am I sad? Because why am I sad? There's still the identification with the emotion. It's very subjective. You're automatically narrowing down the analysis. But if you say, why is Saeed sad? And you're just looking at him as if he said from a completely I'm just watching him. Why is he sad? Let's seek to understand why he's sad. Or why is he happy? Let's seek to understand. So you see, again, you're immigrating. If you're going to actually do this, welcome to the land of absurdity. I am your tour guide here. I'm relatively new to this land of absurdity, but I'm still kind of navigating my way through. Now you realize something, you notice something. I'm not using that same language in these videos. I'm still saying I am, and I'm still referring to myself as myself and my and I. Like I'm saying I do this, right? I'm not saying Saeed does said. I'm not saying Saeed speaks to himself in third person. I'm saying I speak to myself in third person. Why am I still using that language? Because as you begin to navigate your way through all these altered states of perception, you're gonna have to be able to live in all different levels simultaneously, all at the same time. You have to be in oneness, you have to be in the formless, in the form, in the world of many, all at the same time. So I'm right now addressing you as a separate entity, and I am a separate entity. I haven't forgotten about that. I shouldn't forget about that. It's Leela. This is the play. I'm not going to forget about it. I'm not going to go around and you know, when I'm buying my groceries and be like, Saeed would like his avocados. Saeed loves his avocados. I mean, there was a Seinfeld episode on this, and there was a guy named Jimmy, and he was always referring to himself in third person. And Elaine got really frustrated with him because she was dating him, and he kept saying, Jimmy likes basketball. Jimmy likes his shoes, you know. And you know, you sound like a crazy person in that plane of consciousness. Okay? Now you put two acid heads together and they're really like high off acid and they start to speak like that. It doesn't sound crazy at all at that point. Okay? However, it sounds crazy in this ordinary plane of consciousness. Now you've got to be able to live simultaneously at all planes of consciousness. So I haven't lost my ability to discriminate and treat myself as a separate entity and treat others as separate entities. Otherwise, some guys in a white coat would come in and lock me up somewhere. Okay, schizophrenic. Call me schizophrenic. So no, it's not about losing that ability to be a totally separate entity. You know, here's my credit card. Okay, boom. Yeah. Okay, have a nice day. I like avocados. You know, I like bananas. I like this. You know, whatever. But I wouldn't say Saeed likes his avocados. You know, because again, in that plane of consciousness, you're aware that, okay, this is a plane of consciousness where everything is separate, everyone's separate, and everyone's so identified with the separateness, I'm going to get on with it, and I'm going to be fully identified with my separateness. So I'm still here with you guys, and I'm still going to identify all of us as separate, because that's part of the game. This is Leela, this is the divine dance, Leela. We've got to keep it going. I'm going to keep it going, okay? All the self-realized beings kept it going. Buddha kept it going. Jesus, the show must go on. The old adage, the show must go on. It's funny how the divine throws all these little things in pop culture for us. Like all these little truths. Like the show must go on. Yes, the separate I, my, must go on. However, I must be able to live in other altered and higher states of awareness and consciousness. And in order to do that, I want to become more of the watcher, more of the observer. And one of the ways to do that is to start addressing myself in my internal dictionary as third person. And then you go from the land of absurdity to the land of cosmic humor. Because then you start to say, ha ha ha, of course I'm the watcher. I have never been the character in the first place. I am the watcher, watching the character do its thing, change its ways, go on, move on, in this world of impermanence, in this world of constant flux, constant change, in Maya, in illusion. And yeah, it's a freaky, I mean, again, you try it. It's like just speaking in third person, I can feel the sensations in my third eye. Saeed is speaking. Yeah, Saeed is speaking in his video. Saeed is drinking his ginger tea. Saeed likes his ginger tea. So try that out and see how it sits with you. I'm still adjusting my dictionary, by the way. It's like you have to relearn how to speak again. You have to relearn. It's going to take a few months actually before I fully incorporate this in here. However, since I started doing that, I have been seeing life more objective. I have been able to make decisions more objectively. I have been able to see things more objectively and see people more objectively. Because if I'm always referring to this as Saeed and as him, then when I look at, say, my brother and I say Osama, I'm kind of looking at him the same way I'm looking at myself. Because if I'm always looking at myself from a third perspective, from a third person, then I'm much more empathic that way, because I'm able to look at people from a third person, and everything, I start to see everything as third. Because if I'm seeing myself as third, I'm seeing everything as third, then I'm identified with the whole of creation. Then I am the whole of creation. I am just as creation as much as that. My own personal preferences and all the little things are not interfering with my objective analysis of what is happening, of the objective truth, the absolute truth. So I'm finding that my empathy and my compassion has been increasingly and steadily, not like oh boom, but steadily has been going up. My compassion for myself, again, see how I'm still using the language in these videos and will do for the rest of the time here. If we were in a different yuga, like in the Sat Yuga was the time of enlightenment where everybody was enlightened. We would not even have to speak. Okay, all of this would be words would be observed. But we're in the Kali Yuga, we're in the worst of the yugas here. We're in the worst of times, okay? We're in the times with the least consciousness. So in the Sat Yuga, you wouldn't even need to use words. Like, words are just observed. Everything's telepathic and you're conscious. But in this Kali Yuga, in this time of darkness where we have to actually be so identified with language and words and abstractions, then yeah, we would have to keep this show going. The show must go on. So we keep this separate identity and you keep on with it. But if you start to actually see yourself more from third and speak to yourself in third person more and more, I'm adjusting. I've been doing this for like a week now, a little more maybe. I'm still finding myself using the word I and my very frequently. But it's changing every day, little by little. I feel it, because I do meditation before going to bed to like brainwash myself, I guess, to rewire my brain. And I say things like Saeed now is going to speak in third person to himself. Saeed now is speaking in third person to himself. So every day it's getting a little bit better, and it's becoming a little bit less absurd and more humorous. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in cosmic humor, cosmic joy, cosmic ananda, bliss, right? Because that's really who you are. Like, that's the truth of who you are, right? And you're just like watching. You're the watcher, okay? So try that out, okay? Try that out and let me know. If you're interested in learning more about consciousness and enlightenment and this process that we're all on, this process of evolution of consciousness, I wrote a report, it's 11 pages, called 7 Pillars of Enlightenment, okay? And it's 11 pages. You can download it down below in the description or in the comments for free. And it'll give you a really nice overview of everything that we talk about in these videos, just to keep you in track, to keep you in to keep you in the right place, okay, as far as this game that we're playing, because it is a magnificent, exquisite game that we're all involved in, and it can be quite difficult to navigate through it, okay? And so that's why I came up with this system, 7 pillars, to hold myself accountable while I'm leveling up. And I really think this is one of the nice hacks to level up, is to begin to address yourself in third person in your own internal dictionary without losing your ability to be a totally selfish, separate, I identity. Because you've got to keep the show going, and the show must go on, and our show must go on here. I must be the separate entity Saeed, and you must be the separate entity, insert your name. That's how we keep the Leela going. So I'm not gonna stop this Leela, because the Divine Mother wouldn't be so happy with me. The Divine Mother likes to keep the Leela, likes to keep the play going. So I'm not gonna make her mad. You know, Kali can be pretty ugly. So that's about it. And yeah, I love you guys. Until next time, may the Force be with you.